Donald Trump told survivors of the Florida school massacre he would consider allowing teachers to have guns to prevent more mass shootings. The U.S. president made the remarks during a discussion with students from Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School yesterday at the White House. At least 17 people were killed at the school in Parkland last week after 19-year-old former student Nikolas Cruz went on a rampage on Valentine's Day. Trump said, "This would only be obviously for people who are very adept at handling a gun. It's called concealed carry.Where a teacher would have a concealed gun on them, they would go for special training, and they would be there, and you would no longer have a gun-free zone." A gun-free zone, to a maniac, because they are all cowards, a gun-free zone is let's go in and let's attack. There are around 3.2 million teaching staff across the United States.Arming them would mean more people had guns across the country than the U.S. Army, which is set to drop to around 450,000 armed members by the end of 2018. Trump listened intently to the raw emotion on display and suggested bringing Marines onto school premises might also be an option in the future. Tearful Samuel Zeif, a student at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School, told Trump he turned 18 the day after the shooting. He said, "Woke up to the news that my best friend was gone.And I don't understand why I can still go in a store and buy a weapon of war. And AR.How is it that easy to buy this type of weapon? How do we not stop this after Columbine? After Sandy Hook?" Trump promised very strong on background checks in response. The president had invited the teen survivors of school violence and parents of murdered students following last week's shootings in Florida and in past years at Newtown, Connecticut, and Littleton, Colorado. The USA has seen 5 school shootings since the beginning of 2018. The latest murderous episode has prompted a renewed and growing call for stronger gun control. While he did not fully endorse any specific policy solution, he pledged to take action and expressed interest in widely differing approaches. The recent walkout lasted almost 4 hours and saw high schoolers and middle schoolers from the D.C. area march to the White House to demand tougher gun control measures. Students lay down in the streets to symbolize those who lost their lives in school shootings, with some chanting "Shame on you" and Donald Trump, Mike Pence, "Gun control is common sense." Oprah Winfrey has pledged to match George and Jamal Clooney's £357,000 donation. The March for Our Lives protest movement that has swept the USA. George Clooney said our children's lives depend on it when making his donation, with Winfrey adding on Twitter, "These inspiring young people remind me of the freedom riders of the 60s who also said we've had enough, and our voices will be heard." The March for Our Lives protest, led by students, will see demonstrators gather in Washington, D.C. on March 24 to call for new laws to prevent the rampant gun violence. Its mission statement added, "Every kid in this country now goes to school wondering if this day might be their last. We live in fear. We pay for your stories. Do you have a story for the Sun online news team? Email us at tips@thesun.com.